ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie Blade Runner 2049. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by Neon Nathaniel Gingrich.
That's me, folks. I'm Neon Nathaniel.
The return of Neon Nathaniel.
I'm returning.
I don't know what movie it was for, so don't ask. But I'm pretty sure I've done Neon Nathaniel before.
I wanted to say that it was one that I recognized, but I was not 100% on it.
I don't think it was that long ago either.
Well.
It definitely wasn't that long ago.
No,
it sounds very familiar, very recent.
I'm trying to think what had a lot of neon in it.
Have you been to Neon yet in Starfield, Adam?
No, I've not. I haven't played any more since we last spoke, to be honest.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
Wow.
Been busy. So I'm gonna keep going with it. I don't know how long I'll go with it though, because it's not like it hasn't hooked me yet. So I'm gonna give it a fair shake. I'm gonna give it another 5 to 10 hours, because I feel like I do got to give it its due diligence. I can't just give up on it when I haven't even gotten past the first bits, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to get it to where I'm all right, it's actually open world. I can actually go, gotta do all the things I want to do, and then we'll go from there. But as of right now, it hasn't hooked me yet, so I haven't played too much more. But I'm gonna.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
That's what I hear. If you build it, Tyler will stream it. No, that's not a good one.
I don't know where you were going with that one.
I don't either. It was worth a shot.
That's fine.
You can't hit it if you don't swing.
But anyways, folks, I'm Neon Nathaniel. And in my world, everything's in neon.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really bright all the time, though.
It helps out at night.
It's a lot of headaches.
Oh, well, I'm sure you can't see anything during the day.
It's just bright. No?
It's just white, or purple, or pink, or whatever neon color.
Pretty much whatever I'm looking at.
You sure? What is the sun?
Like 400 Kelvin or whatever the sun is measured in color range.
I don't know what the sun is technically in color range, to be honest.
It's Kelvin.
I should know.
I know
that.
Kelvin.
Yeah, I know it's Kelvin. I just don't know what. There's a number for it. Probably 170,000 K or something, or 170 K or something like that. I don't know. I should probably know it. I think I was shown or taught it at some point in my classes. Just don't remember. Yeah. Because I said to myself, I can always just Google this later, and I can. So
yeah, but this is one thing that I think, haven't they been saying now that info is just becoming more and more just fucked because of all the AI searches out there and stuff.
Oh, I don't know.
AI searches. You go onto Google or you go onto your search engine, and now instead of the first couple pages pulling up of actual searches or anything, it is AI responses to your search questions. And then because it is AI responses and they're pulled from just whatever, it's like Wild West days of Wikipedia back in the day,
right,
where just anyone could have anything.
This game of telephone of Google searches through AI.
Yeah,
it's kind of screwed up our knowledge. That's interesting.
I'm wondering if we just eventually just burn ourselves with that when we just can no longer trust any information.
Yeah, I mean, I already rarely trust information. That's why it's no longer just one Google search anymore. It's all right, well, this link says this. This link says this link says this, and you got to get the consensus.
Yeah, and then you just end up going on to whatever Reddit thread
right. And then
I was going to say, Reddit is always the answer for me. I don't even Google things anymore. I mean, I guess I use the Google search engine, but I'll Google it, air quotes.
And then you look for
I
the
put
Reddit
at the end of it. Yep, and that's how I get my answers to everything now.
A lot of my generation now searches TikTok as a search engine. Yeah, and my girlfriend's been why don't you just look for it on TikTok? I'm like, what?
Because it'll be I don't know, set up my HDMI or whatever.
Right,
and
exactly. And it's just a
60-second
tutorial that is cut to perfection and very straightforward, and then you have what you're looking for. Or if I, instead of Googling, if I want to pick out clothes, for example, like instead of Googling, hey, like what are trending fashion trends for fall sweaters for men in 2023. No, I can just search in TikTok and it's like, oh, this guy's already picked out and shows me the links to like all of these different ones at different price ranges, like that kind of thing.
Oh man.
And you can just kind of do that as a recommendation. Yeah, it's
Blade
interesting. It's also not.
We're gonna be bit of spoilers. We're gonna be talking about how this movie feels about like 30 seconds into the future already, and now this conversation is just making me feel like maybe we're closer to 15 seconds from the future. That's from the Blade Runner timeline,
right? Not a lot of TikTok in Blade Runner 2049 though.
I mean, isn't that just what joy is?
Pretty much, yeah, sure. TikTok evolution, yeah.
Just your algorithm.
Also joining us today is Robo Ty, Tyler Verdalis.
I am not a robot.
Prove it. Let me see the eyelid.
Come look.
All right, bet.
I'm gonna need you to look up and to the left.
What an interesting place
That's
to
me.
put the serial number, you know? Not on like your thumb or anything. Like it gotta be under the eyelid, really?
You'll never find it.
I mean, you can find it. And everyone knows where it's
know
at.
about it.
True. How you doing, Ty?
I'm good.
First week on the
second
job?
Week of work.
Oh, second week on the
almost
job.
done. Yep. I go to training next week,
That's right. I remember you saying you got that trip coming up.
and yeah,
How you liking it so far?
it's good. I've been actually kind of out and about instead of just like chilling in the office.
Right.
So that's been nice.
Yeah.
Been spending time with some market reps. So
Mhm.
I've been up to Wisconsin this week.
Mm.
I've been
Ooh,
in the
okay.
city twice this week.
Gross.
So yeah, it is usually gross, but I don't have to drive my car, so
is
I
nice.
don't
Yeah,
care.
it makes it a little
Less
easier.
gross.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like most of the time, like I consider myself a morning person. I like getting up relatively early and
Mhm.
getting stuff done, and like the 2 days I've had to go to the city, like the one day I did take my car because there was no other way, but I got to leave from home. So, it took me like almost an hour and 45 to get down there, but my day was over at like 1:00 in the afternoon. And then it takes me 40 minutes to get home. And since I didn't have a work car, I just drive straight home and I'm done by 2:00 in the afternoon. That was on Wednesday. That was on my birthday. And I stopped by the store for a little bit.
Oh,
I think Nathaniel was getting canes.
Yeah, you just
but
missed
I
him.
did get to see Adam
bullshit.
and some other people. Brian was not there. Kayla was not there.
Yeah, it was an odd
Um,
crew in that day.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
it was. I saw Will, who I hadn't seen in a while, so I'm cool with that.
Got to meet a new
Um,
fan of the pod, Yasik.
Yep.
So that was exciting.
And then,
He very much wants us to do
The gentleman.
Crystal was there.
Gentleman. That's what it was.
Yeah. Crystal was there, yeah. Yasik's favorite movie, I think, is The Gentleman, so he keeps asking me to watch it and to review it on pod. So
Interesting.
I'll put on the
It's
I'll
a
put on the
good
short list.
movie. I love that movie.
It's fun.
But it
I
is
haven't seen it.
not in contention for like one of my favorites, like ever.
It's now on the short list.
That's fair.
It's good though.
Just
I'm
in case.
down.
All right. I should also say happy belated, Tyler. We did your birthday pick
thank you.
last week, of course. We kind of celebrated it then,
We
but
did.
it was just yesterday. So happy birthday, 33.
33.
How's it feel?
Pretty chill. I still feel like some days I'm like 28, 29,
Mhm.
and then some days I feel like someone's dad. So
That's valid.
Yeah.
yeah.
And rounding out the squadron, of course, is big Blade Runner BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm feeling all right, man.
Would you want to be a Blade Runner if we lived in that universe? Would that be a fun job, like a bounty hunter for robots?
I don't think so, right? I mean, I guess you're not really killing your own kind because
I don't know if fun's what I would sum it up to, but
Yeah, it seems to be like getting your ass beat a lot.
Yeah, right.
and like everybody hating you. Doesn't matter
True.
what side you're on. They all hate you.
Now,
Seems stable.
does seem stable. Yeah,
Job security for sure.
job
Yeah.
security through all economic turmoil. You got a job going. The
I
one
think
thing
I'd like it.
one thing I was gonna say is like Blade Runner being your job title, that's pretty cool.
There's few cooler job titles.
I don't think there is. That might be the coolest job title. I'm a Blade Runner.
Underwater welder. I think that one's always up there.
Yeah, Nathaniel, ask me what I do for work.
Only if you look like Iron Man when he's doing it. Connect power to the Stark Tower.
That's your rule for regular underwater welders aren't that cool.
Yeah, you have to look. If you give me a full Iron Man suit and I can just replay that scene in my head all day, then yeah, I'm down. I'm in.
Fair.
That's up there as far as one of the most dangerous jobs.
Mm-hmm.
An underwater welder.
Underwater welder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's actually
That's what I've seen.
heard
I
that
actually
before
read it.
too. It's like that's one of the most dangerous things you can do.
I'm with you, Adam. I think I actually caught that on a Reddit thread.
I don't know where I caught
I think
that.
because of that, it's like one of the more higher.
Have we
paid
talked
jobs,
about that?
too. Oh, maybe.
I feel like that might be a
I
pre-pod
can,
topic
I can
at
imagine
some
you're
point.
getting paid some good change for that, Nathaniel.
Oh yeah, I think it's similar to like the Deadliest Catch guys, where they just get paid a fuck ton of money because
It's so dangerous.
it is just stupidly dangerous and no one wants to do it.
Anyone got any big updates from the week? If it doesn't feel like that long ago that we recorded late last week. I guess we're recording late this week too.
I was gonna say I think it's a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a full week. We've been doing later in the week recently. Waz is not happy.
Waz was not happy.
He's like, why are you guys not recording on Tuesday? I don't know. Just how
Sorry,
the schedules
Waz.
shake out. Yeah. All right. Well, no one's got any big updates. I mean, I guess we can just talk about what we're supposed to be talking about, which is Blade Runner 2049. It's finally here, ladies and gents. I feel like this is a movie we've been talking about since the pod started. Nathaniel, yes.
Quick injure and big update. Congrats to the writers. They broke. Broke the studios.
Can we get some applause?
Yo, hold on. Let me get.
AKA crickets. Oh, he gets the right one. He got the right one.
Don't worry, guys. Yeah, the writers got a deal. So seems to be the writer's strike is ending. The SAG strike is still going though.
Right.
So
We'll see how long
solidarity with
that
that.
takes.
But
Yeah. That's awesome. I haven't read anything on the terms of the agreement. Have
from
you?
everything I've seen, it is good news that basically the writers won most of their agreements or got most of their stuff. I think it was like the necessary size on the writers' rooms was agreed to. Like if you are like no one can they can't use AI to basically create stuff. And if a writer is given the option, if they want to use AI to like help them, like they can choose to do that, but they always have the right to say fuck off or whatever. And then I think I know another thing I saw was if they're asking you to like revise the script basically or like over a certain amount, you basically get to charge them for like another script basically. So like if you
so like revisions
over a certain amount, like it is like a new script at that point.
Yeah, I've seen that. That I'm surprised that wasn't a thing beforehand because that's something that's kind of standard practice from my understanding of like just in terms of like say for video editing kind of stuff. As I looked into like what freelance work for that looks like, when you're writing contracts, you do have a clause. It's like you get certain amount of revisions. After that, you were getting charged more and more each revision kind of thing.
And it might have been something like that, but again, this is stuff I'm just seeing that was like I think confirmed secondhand through Twitter that I'm not looking up, folks. So if you're curious, look it up yourself, or I don't know, don't come to me for news. But so yeah, back to the movie.
Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment of the pod. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
What up, folks? If you're new, or perhaps you've just forgotten, the way our review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is broken down into two sections. There is the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. Pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie's IMDb summary, who wrote it, who directed it, who's in it, all that good stuff. We'll go around the squadron and say if we would recommend this movie. Has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And then it'll be spoiler time. I'll play a spoiler noise so you can be notified if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you. But do check back at the end of the episode to see where we rank this up on our podcast. Man, I lost it at the end there. I was cruising along and in my spiel, and then I lost it. Spoiler time, folks. If you do want to not have anything spoiled for you, we're going to go deeper into our thoughts on the movie itself, any big plot twists or anything like that. And even if you don't want to have it spoiled for you, do check for the time codes in the episode description, which will tell you what time to come back and avoid the spoilers, but listen to the rest of the episode, like seeing where we rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast, ranked. That being said, Adam, tell me about Blade Runner 2049.
I would love to. This is a not a new movie. This was released all the way back in 2017. Rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 44 minutes and an IMDb rating of 8.0 out of 10. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, Denis V, our boy. Written by Hampton Fancher and Michael Green, and based on the novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. What a great book title.
It is good.
Have you read a lot of Philip K. Dick?
Yeah, I actually had to take a like an early class that I think we ended up with like a Philip K. Dick short story collection, and then I ended up reading probably 4 or 5 of those throughout college at some point. He's a good writer. He and he's obviously like ton of science fiction, takes so much from him at this point. But he's definitely like that kind of classic gut punch short story is very much in his kind of wheelhouse as well too, where it's like bang, the story starts, you're kind of in the story to begin with, and then like bad thing happens, plot twist, or it's something and then plot twist. Like it always wants to end on this gut punch ending so that you read the next one and keep going and always going from there. And yeah, but it's good.
I mentioned last week that I would find my Blade Runner review from high school.
Oh yeah,
I totally forgot to do it, and I thought it might be in my Google Drive, and it's not in my Google Drive.
Man.
So I apologize.
Don't leave us negative reviews just because Adam forgot his.
Trust me, it's honestly for the best because they'd probably leave negative reviews if I did find that review. Maybe I'll find it and I can bring it next week just to make up for it. But yeah, I'm not able to find it. I thought it would be my drive, but it is not. Anyway, the cast includes Ryan Gosling in the lead role of Kay. We have Dave Bautista, Robin Wright. This is an order of appearance, and this hurts me every time. Ana de Armas is here. Let me see who else.
We got the guys.
David Dastmalchian returns, who now I think, dude, is he
Coco?
Is he number 1?
Oh, on the entry list
appearance? He's climbing very quick.
He's got to be up there.
Prisoners, Dune, Suicide Squad, Blade Runner. That's at least 4. And I could think of Last Voyage of the Meteor's 5. There's got to be 2 more on here. Is he in Inception?
I don't believe he is.
Is he in Dunkirk?
No, I don't think
so.
Is
he in, what was the last Nolan film that just came out?
Tenet?
Oppenheimer?
I don't think he's in Oppenheimer, actually.
No, he's not in Oppenheimer. But did you say Last Voyage of the Demeter?
I did say Last Voyage of the Meteor. Prisoners? Did I say that already?
I think that was
Prisoners,
one.
yeah, Suicide
that
Squad.
Had that one, too.
Man, I feel like he could be more, but I don't know. Anyway, he's in at least 5, so he's up there. Jared Leto. Who plays Love? Sylvia Hoeks?
Yeah,
Hoeks.
She's Dutch. Who knows how to pronounce it?
Right. I think we have all the big names here.
There's one big name.
Wood Harris?
Harrison Ford.
Hey, my man.
You know why I didn't name him? It's because I have to scroll all the way down to the
it's
bottom
order of appearance.
He doesn't show up until there's 45 minutes left in the movie.
It's an hour. I actually checked that this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got a very small scene too. I think he's only in 2 scenes, right?
He's in about
4.
Yeah, he's in about like
Really?
25 minutes. No, he's in like the last act, I would say, most of
He's in the last
Okay,
45
yeah.
minutes.
I guess
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of the last act.
Yeah, but he's in a few different scenes. Anyway, yeah, that's the main cast there. Of course, a bunch of other smaller characters here and there, but you got the big ones there. The IMDb summary reads as follows. Young Blade Runner K's discovery of a long-buried secret leads him to track down former Blade Runner Rick Deckard, who's been missing for 30 years. Good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that just because that's not like there are bigger events in the movie that lead to that, that it doesn't hint at too much, that leave you interested, you know?
Okay.
And then, but you obviously know it's a bit of a requel, loose requel, where you kind of bring back the legacy character kind of thing. Just character singular, so like it's hard because it's just one. But I guess you could consider it two-ish.
I would say that, but I also feel like this, in a lot of ways, is more of a direct sequel
It is. Oh,
than
100%.
a lot of the other ones.
100%.
Because even though you really got only the two characters from the original movie, the world itself is still very clearly the same world,
Right.
just pushed forward 30 years or something like that. You know?
Yeah, and it was it 30 years in between the two movies, or was it how long was it?
First one was 80 something.
When was the first one? It was wasn't it before Star Wars, or was it after?
Yeah, for some reason I thought the first one was 86,
No, I think
but
it's
that's just the date I have.
Blade
in my
Runner
head.
was 82.
82.
Oh wow, yeah.
So 35-year difference between the two. Cool. So in
isn't that-
terms,
Is that original one set in
I remember it being it was set.
2015?
Yes, I think it was, because they did the thing where 35 years passed in our time and
Yeah.
35 years passed in the world.
Got it.
You know,
So that would have
I remember that being. I think they lined that up.
2014.
So right, yeah. So around there then. Who here saw? Did we all see this in theaters when it came out?
This was one of my very first Atmos movies.
Oh,
I think
this
it
would have been
was-
incredible in Atmos.
It truly was. It was one of the first ones where I was like, "Holy shit, this might be like my favorite movie ever." And then I was like, I went and saw it again with my parents. I was like, "All right, about 20% of that was this
It was the
theater."
theater.
Yeah, but it was still great. Bit of sizzle.
I don't remember if I saw this IMAX or if I just saw this regularly, but did see it in theaters. And I don't think I've seen it since.
Really?
I don't think so. I might have at one
wow.
point in time that I don't remember specifically, because something tells me I've like maybe put it on and didn't finish it or something like that.
Okay.
So I don't remember if I've seen it since theaters, but it's been a while regardless. The fact that I can't remember means it's been at least a few years. So this is either my second or potentially third watching. My first time being in theaters. Ty, Blake, you guys catch this in theaters originally?
Yes.
Yeah, I caught it in theaters. This is actually my senior year of college. For my senior year of football, I graduated in May. So I had one more year, right, of football to play for my senior year. So funny enough, I have a crazy story of seeing this in theater. So there was a family funeral. So my mom wasn't able to make the game. Usually both my parents would come. So my dad came up. And this is actually a game where I got hurt and I partially tore my calf. So I had like a grade 3 calf strain. So with all the calf injuries going on right now, so I totally know how it feels.
Sure.
And it was horrible, right? That was like the fourth game, missed like the next 8 games of my senior year. So I only played 4 games. Really bad, was in a cast, crutches, all types of stuff. Nonetheless, happened to get hurt in the game. And I'm like, oh, okay, the calf hurts, but like, I don't think it's that bad. And then after the game, me and my dad, we get some food. And then it's like, hey, there's a new movie that came out, Blade Runner 2049. It's by Denny V. We've seen Prisoners together. We've seen Sicario together. We've seen Arrival together. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Right.
You guys know my dad's a big movie guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, let's go to the movies. So as we're watching this movie, I was like, man, this movie's awesome. But then I was like, my leg hurts really bad. So, like, that's just all I remember when I see this movie for the first time, or when I just see it each time. My first viewing was crazy, man, because I was like, man,
You
this
go
movie's
back
awesome.
to your leg starts cramping up. You can't watch this
This
without
movie's
being a little
awesome.
tingle in
Looks
the calf.
beautiful, sound design.
in a
great,
lot
but
of
then I'm just
pain.
watching it. I'm like, my leg is infuriating right now, bro. So yeah, that's my funny story of Blade Runner 2049. But yeah, I've seen this thing now. Maybe this is probably the third watch, I can imagine, third or fourth watch. seen some pieces here and there, but haven't really sat down for it entirety more than a handful of times. So yeah, great movie though.
What are our non-spoiler thoughts here? Of course, now we all saw this in theaters. I think we've all hinted at it. I'm gonna assume we're all for recommend before we even go around. But for me personally, I love this movie. I can't say it was as good on the rewatch just because I kind of there's a lot that I remember that first watch doing where it's like there's some twists and turns a little bit. The story kind of has some flows to it that take you in different directions, and so that first watch, it is kind of one of those where like it does get you really really good on the first watch, and because you know how the story goes on a second or a secondary watch, it doesn't quite hit the same, and that's what I found myself feeling last night watching this. However, it is still a very good movie objectively, and it was nice watching it too. This time around, I decided to kind of watch it more. When the first one came out, when this came out originally in theaters, I had just watched for the first time the original Blade Runner to kind of catch up on what was going on. Of course, if the sequel's coming out, I got to watch the original to kind of understand context there. So I had just seen Blade Runner, the original, and had all the context for it coming in. So I was watching 2049 as like a direct sequel to it. This time around, I haven't seen the original since then, watching it for the first viewing. And so I kind of came into it this time like watching it almost as a standalone and seeing how this holds up separate from the original Blade Runner, because I just don't remember much from that movie other than just kind of the basic information of who Deckard is.
Sure.
So kind of an interesting watching it that way. I think it really is pretty strong standalone. It does help when you've seen the original, but I think if you haven't, there's still a lot here for you. So if you haven't seen the original, I don't think it's a must watch in order to watch this one. I think it does enough on its own with the little title screen in the front or very beginning of it that gives you just basic background information. I think you're good to go from there, and the only kind of context you need is who Harrison Ford is, and they kind of give that to you enough, I feel like. So it was kind of fun watching it from that perspective, and I do think it does a good job of being on its own if you haven't seen the original. But at the end of the day, it is a sequel. It does help to have that context. But this time around, I don't think anything will beat that first watch for me, but I still hold that first watch pretty tight because it was so good. But I still really enjoyed myself this time around as well.
Yeah, it's fair. I'll kind of follow up with you from there. So like I said, this is probably my third or fourth time I've seen it in its entirety. I still feel strongly about this movie. I mean, honestly, I think this is one of those movies where the more I watch it, the more it becomes my favorite Denis V movie, which is kind of a powerful statement, right? Because I'm really big on Prisoners. My heart of hearts answer is like Sicario. But yeah, this movie, I'm sorry, what was that, Nathaniel?
I was just saying, wow. I didn't know Sicario was like that high on there as well, too.
I love Sicario, just personally.
For sure.
Love the setting, just the idea behind it. But yeah, more so for Blade Runner 2049. I mean, is this the most attractive movie that's ever been put out? I guess that's like the question, and it very well could make the argument.
My only challenge is potentially Dune. Like that's the only other one I could think of.
Ironically enough, yeah.
Which is also Denis V, of course. So that's the only other one I could think of where I'd be like, that rivals this in terms of aesthetic.
The color palette on this is just crazy.
Yeah.
The world building is crazy. So yeah, the more I see it, the more I like really appreciate that type of stuff. As well as, I mean, it's a Denis V movie, right? So like every shot, you can basically like just take a fucking screenshot of it and be like, this is what art should look like from what is it? What's the headquarters name? Is it Walter headquarters?
Oh,
Wallace.
Wallace.
What's it called?
Wallace
headquarters.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Wallace.
Every scene in there is like fucking textbook masterpiece of just like lighting, color shades, color palettes. So yeah, man, it's awesome. It is a little lengthy, I would say, but as we kind of get on here and say for the most part though, right, there's no good movies too long, and I guess no good movies too short. So yeah, that's kind of my brief thoughts. Great movie, great on rewatch. I'll continue to rewatch it. Sound design, visuals. Ryan Gosling is awesome in this. Ana de Armas is phenomenal in this. Wood Harris is probably another sneaky reason of why I just love this movie. I remember seeing this on first watch in theaters, and I was like, wow, I did not expect this guy to be in this film.
That's
He just
Avon
plays,
Barksdale.
Yeah, Avon Barksdale. Who would have thought? So yeah, very very funny, and I think that also plays a role that's got a lot of sentiment towards me as well. But yeah, that's kind of my brief thoughts. We'll jump into the spoilers, but yeah, I'll pass it off to somebody else.
I could talk about it for a bit here, I suppose. Yeah, I think I was, as I alluded before, very, very positive on this movie when it first came out. I definitely felt like, or I've always felt like it's a movie that has a lot that I personally like about it too, from the fact that, it just, as we've talked about, the cinematography, the aesthetic, the overall visual design of the movie is just really cool. And I like the scope of it and kind of, the hard sci-fi edge to it. Those are all just things that I personally enjoy and find interesting to dig into. As a movie itself, I think, there's a lot of things that it really does have going in its favor. Things like it being shot by Roger Deakins. That is a huge part of it.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, that's
No,
all full credit to Denny V, but
yeah,
Roger Deakins has a huge part of this
he
as
does.
well, too.
100%.
For sure.
So that's good. I think all of the casting choices are really, really well done. Pretty much from soup to nuts on that one. One thing I did have actually on this rewatch, because I think similarly to you, Adam, I think I've kind of had kind of the same journey where I just loved it on immediate watch. Saw it maybe a year or two after that and kind of had a rewatch of it and was feeling a little bit cooled on it. But just now I feel like in our current climate as well, too, just in the world, this movie in particular, this kind of like version of the future feels very realistic and possible right now, particularly with just like the fake dog or bioengineered, bioengineered human, bioengineered people, bioengineered pets, and what exactly is real, what isn't, and then just like the world itself where just everything seems to be ads and personalized to ads to you. And just good. Like, it's just you can't go anywhere without having something in your face telling you where to go or what to look at next and that kind of thing. I don't know. Like, I just found this movie to be very prescient in that ways, in some ways right now, and seems to have even ways aged a little bit better on there. And so, yeah, I think I'm still positive on it overall. I think I tend to lean a little bit more with Blake that there's other Denny V movies that I may rank higher. But this might still be end up being a personal fave at the end of the day. And just in, again, how it works within the original Blade Runner too.
Right.
I do think that I do have some criticism, but I think to your point, and Blake, I think said earlier, every shot's a painting. And that is definitely true, but he doesn't let any of them breathe. Like, this movie is very much like every shot is almost like it's kind of like very rhythmic, 1 or 2 seconds long, boom, 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 boom. Like, it just kind of has this kind of cadence to it. I found that a little bit annoying. I've actually found it get a little bit better later on once Harrison Ford was introduced. But it just, like, I found myself being like, man, that's a good looking shot. And then, like, it would just be, like, cutting to another amazing shot. But it was like I never got to stick with them for a long period of time and really soak them in a little,
Which I think is, like, to the movie's service, and also it's a bit of an injustice to it at the same time. Because you don't want to hold on those shots too long, or else this 2:45 movie is gonna feel like
100%.
So you can't really hold. You have to have these cuts so the pacing feels right. But at the same time, man, I just want to pause and just look at something pretty.
Yeah, for sure. And then what was the other thing I was going to say too was that it does, I think, upon a rewatch, kind of feel like a movie of two parts where you have kind of
Right.
the pre-Harrison Ford introduction and the post-Harrison Ford introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that does stick out even a little bit more on a rewatch. But again, it's kind of comes with the territory in some ways. So
Right.
it's about as good as I think they could do it with a Lego sequel in 2017 or whenever this was. Would we say 2017?
Yep.
Yeah. So still big recommend from me. Tyler?
It's a recommend. Excuse me. Yeah, I caught this in theaters, like we said earlier. You know, this movie is has everybody seen the original?
Yeah, I have.
Yes. Nathaniel said
I know
yes
Nathaniel
as well.
is.
He's
It's
getting up
been
on
a,
his
it's
chair.
been a minute though. I'll tell you that. And
Yeah.
I actually have it on Vudu. I probably should have rewatched that.
Fu-
while I was watching
Funny
this.
enough, Blake, I
You do have it on Voodoo.
was gonna say I watched Blade Runner last night on Vudu, or like 2049 last night on your Vudu, and then I saw you had the original one. Someone was watching. It was the Utah.
It was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It said resume.
I should have did it. I rewatched the original maybe 3 years ago when I rewatched this for the first time in a minute. But that's probably the first time I've seen the original since I was like a kid. So
Yeah. I'm stupid though. I watched 2049 and then I went back and I was like, I'm such an idiot. Like I should just watch them in order.
Right.
But I don't think I really wanted more of this world until I watched
Until you got
the 2049.
a
And then
taste
I
of
was
it,
like,
yeah.
man, I could just live in this for a little bit longer. So I'm gonna watch it first.
I felt the same way. I didn't. It was late when I finished the movie, so I didn't end
Sure.
up turning on the original. But I did feel the same way. Like, damn, I could really go back and maybe get that first one to watch. But that first one is also
Yeah.
like 3 hours long, and you do
Yeah,
feel it.
these are not short
You
movies.
do feel the first one's runtime quite a bit.
But the crazy thing for me too is like it was so hard for I constantly go a battle between the first one and 2049 so much on which one I like more. And that's also because Ridley Scott is one of my favorite directors from a sci-fi standpoint. And so yeah, that's where I struggle. And you know, Denny V's obviously up there. He's got quite a few movies that I would put up there as far as some of my more highly rated ones. But yeah, 2049, obviously, you know, like we've kind of touched on, this movie's ridiculously aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Every shot is just very fun to look at, and yeah, you know, you wish you could spend a little bit more time in some of those shots, and just kind of let it be like what it is, so you can appreciate the artistry behind it. But beautiful looking movie. Obviously the acting is on point with everybody. It's very cool to see actors having to act like AI but also be real, and so yeah, it's all a really cool concept, and I definitely am a recommend for this movie for sure.
Cool. I recommend as all around, I believe. As I stated before, I even had to go all around.
for sure.
You did.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen Blade Runner 2049, go ahead, check the episode description where you can find the timestamp to jump to, where you'll be taken to our ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. Spoiler time, Nathaniel.
What you got for us this week? Spoilers. Spoilers.
Spoiler. Shit goes down.
Wait, turn it back on real quick.
Shit goes down.
Did you enjoy that?
I got that out of my system.
Okay,
Thank you very
good.
much. Yeah, I needed that.
It happens, right?
Yeah, you know, you get a
can't
bit of an
stop.
itch, and yeah, you gotta just leave it turned on.
So, it's a dense movie.
Yeah. To your point of this feeling like two movies in one, split up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I much prefer the first half.
Oh, yeah?
I much prefer the Ryan Gosling detective story. Ana de Armas is this robo girlfriend who can't touch him, but damn, she tries. Damn, does she try. But yeah, that whole detective case with Madam, and then he's off baseline and stuff. Like it kind of ends there, because then from there he goes and goes to Las Vegas. But like up until that point, that movie has you by the balls, man. and it's so good, and you just can't look away. And I feel like once he gets to Vegas, there's some intrigue, but then it does turn into a little bit more of an action movie from there, and it's a little bit more, just a little bit more actiony, and I much prefer the slow burn of the detective story, and I don't mind that it gets there, but I just wish it was a little bit more gradual and a little bit more, if it fit a little bit more into the actual like detective story. I don't think it's not like this the whole Vegas thing doesn't fit into the story or anything like that, but it just if you kind of more of a slow burn into that rather than like it feel like the whole first half of the movie kind of ends at that baseline test and then him going to Vegas, then it completely just flips to more of an action movie. I wish it was just a little bit more gradual. And there's not much more of an investigation from that point on. I mean, I guess he kind of finishes it, but I don't know. I just much more enjoyed Ryan Gosling on the case, trying to figure it out. Why does everybody hate him? He's getting called a lot of like robo slurs and and a lot going on.
What is it like the Hungarian lady? She calls him like a beautiful, sexy robot or something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Yeah, but there's things written on his door. I forgot what his neighbors call him.
Skin job.
Skin jobs. Yeah. And Coco's being mean to him too. Yeah.
He says maybe or maybe they're not robots; they're bioengineered humans, but they're maybe the sapper, Dave Bautista's character, ate the baby.
Yeah, he ate it. Yeah, those microaggressions, man, they'll get you.
Is that what a microaggression is?
We can have that conversation later, but it's similar. Yeah, something along those lines. Yes. But if you need that explained, I'd be happy to. Anyway, I definitely prefer the first half of that kind of overall story there. But
I think I'm with you on that though, for the most part. It's not that I'm down on the second half, of the movie,
which I want to reiterate. Not like the second half
setup
sucks, but
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I agree with you. I just not that the second half is bad, but I just prefer the first kind of half of that story.
Yeah, I'm with you. Go ahead, Nathaniel. What are you gonna say, bro?
Yeah, no, I think I can see where you're coming from. Where they're in essence like kind of trying the bit that feels unwieldy is trying to fit Harrison Ford back into it, basically in some ways, and I understand that side of it. I think again, I feel like for me, it was me on this rewatch personally that I felt like the back half started to work again a little bit more, and I felt. I mean, when I originally saw this movie in theaters, I thought everything past the Vegas scene was just like, I was just on board for the ride at that point.
Right.
It was from the Vegas scene to the ocean side bit where they're in the waves. I thought was just top tier filmmaking on the edge of my seat. Awesome. But I do understand where you're coming from, where it is just kind of like feels very a movie that has been so tightly paced all of a sudden kind of opens up at the end, and then it becomes very more kind of interlocked with each other, and it doesn't quite stick the landing depending on your own view of it. But I think for me, part of what the problem is if you think of it from a screenwriting standpoint, where you traditionally think of your third act as a lot of times it begins with the protagonist making a decision from which there is no coming back from, or that will lead to the event's conclusion, basically. And this movie almost has two of those moments. One where Gosling makes the break to Vegas, and then the other one after he meets the giant Joy and basically makes the decision that he's going to go after Deckard and reunite him with his daughter. And I think because of that, it almost does create this kind of uneven finish to it, where you get these kind of no singular moment of ending action. It's kind of it almost ends twice, and I wonder if that has a little bit more to do with maybe why you are feeling that kind of preference for the first half, which again too is also the newer stuff as well. It is the part that's designed to draw you into the story so that you can be there at the end, emotionally too. I don't think it maybe lands all of its beats, but takes a lot of swings in there.
Yeah.
It covers a lot of ground overall.
Sure does.
And I think it's funny that in the future, the bioengineered slave labor has robot girlfriends. But
Yeah.
the humans don't.
No, the
Yeah.
robots are the ones over the robot.
But
girlfriends.
I still think there's layers to that between like replicants. There.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like
there-
a replicant is just
Um,
is just a human, basically.
Mhm.
Right, but yes, you're right, Nathaniel. But then obviously, technically, they're really not. So it's even funny when Kay goes. I don't even know what scene where they're basically outside like the hooker lounge
Oh
type
yeah.
thing, right? And then those escorts, prostitutes, whatever term you want to put on them, they come up to him, and they're kind of talking to him, and they're like, they realize like, oh, he's a Blade Runner. Let's try to see if we can figure out like who he's after or something like that. I forgot what somebody asked the three ladies to approach him about, but then nonetheless, when the final one comes up, she's kind of talking to him, trying to flirt with him, and she's like, "Oh, like you don't like real girls," which is ironic because she's not even a real person. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
like, there's stuff like that also goes into it as well. And then even to double down on that, the scene where it's like a top tier sci-fi scene where you have the hologram of Ryan Gosling or Kay's girlfriend, who's played by Ana de Armas, is like she's gonna like take in the body of the actual replicant who's standing there.
Yeah, what
so
a
they can have a sexual relationship. Is like
weird
phenomenal.
scene. But no, it works so well.
Weird
but
concept, but it works so.
it works
good, dude.
well. It just the CGI on it and everything too. The way they like keep, because there's some moments where it's just Ana de Armas.
It's like buffering around her. and
right.
stuff. It's
Yeah,
so good.
and it's so well done. I just don't know. I want to know how they did it. Also, as
Yeah,
just
for
someone
sure.
as just someone who
sure.
like likes production stuff. Like I don't know what kind of matching you're doing or.
I read you need to just film it twice.
Yes, I mean, but even then, like, there's still just in terms
You
of
think
how
so?
you line
Just
that
layering
up.
over each
I
other?
mean, yeah, you could just film that twice,
Yeah,
keep the
or-
camera on a track, sure, all that stuff. But
And I'm
I
sure
don't know.
there's a.
I just want to know the tricks. you
I'm
know?
sure. Yeah, I'm sure they were blocked heavily, and then I'm sure they filmed it twice, and then I'm sure that obviously there's also CGI tweaking in there as well too,
Right?
where
Yeah,
they
I'm
are
sure
kind
it's
of
all
like
that together.
phasing between the two of them
Right.
and that kind of thing.
But it works so well, and
Yeah.
the way they blend, it's because, like I said, sometimes you just see Ana de Armas, sometimes you see a mix of the two, sometimes you mainly just see the other chick. So yeah, the way they blend the two together and kind of just all wrap it up, really, really good scene, and also very much a her kind of scene. That's what that
Yeah.
whole relationship kind of reminds me of. Is that because the very similar scene in the movie Her. So that's what I think of when I look at that scene. But
How do you feel between what was her name? What's her name in Ex Machina? Ava?
Ava,
Ava versus
Joy
versus I guess Joy, yeah.
versus Scarlett Johansson, Samantha.
Is that who it
In-
is
in Her?
In Her?
Yeah. Which Robo girlfriend
I
would
mean,
I
are we
rather
talking
have?
like who's
Well,
gonna
I
be
guess-
my fictional girlfriend?
I was gonna
is what
say
we're saying.
Ava's gonna murder me.
Well, I guess yeah, Ava would still be the one that I would have had the toughest time not telling
So
as
if
a
we're gonna talk
human.
about just strictly
Right.
a fight,
yeah. If you're
I'm
yeah.
taking
100
Lita.
duck-sized Avas versus.
That's funny.
I'm taking Alita if we're going by AI.
Yeah,
or
okay, fair enough.
Whatever you want.
That's fair. I'll can I take an avatar? Can I get a Navi in
Hey.
a situation? Shout out Barkad Abdi, Doc Badger, i.e. I'm the Captain Now guy from
yes,
Captain
yes, I
Phillips.
recognize him as well.
Always good to see him pop up in things.
It is good to see him. I did recognize him too. That's a funny scene too. He's like, dude, I could get you a real horse.
Right, which that is definitely from the first one and more the book, where this idea of there is no natural animals anymore,
Mhm.
so that is now the commodity
Right.
on the earth is like if you have a natural born cat
Mhm.
that is like the richest person on the planet has that. So
Right.
Yeah, I think that's where the do androids dream of electric sheep comes from as well too, and everything. And I think that's in the first one where she says, "Do you like our owl?"
Yes.
And he says, "Oh, it's artificial." And then she's like, "Well, how can you tell?"
Right. Which they bring up in this movie as the little voice
They do.
line, I believe. Yeah. So first time when you guys were watched this the first time, how did you guys fall for it? Did you guys think he was the actual human-born reproduced replicant? Because I did. I was like, they had me on the first watch there.
Yeah, I want to say I definitely thought so.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about too with the first watch being like you do get gripped in with that, and it is kind of a big reveal that like, oh shit, like he's actually not the person. That's kind of a big reveal there, which I remember watching the first time. And I was just like, I could feel like that there was probably going to be a twist coming, but you kind of think the twist is, oh, he's the one he's chasing. And then the twist is, it's actually this, that kind of thing. So it does do a very good job in terms of first watch of getting you hooked in the story in that term.
And I think now
I agree.
When I was rewatching it again on this version, that like this is the one where I maybe empathized or sympathized the most with him in terms of those, and maybe it is just being a little bit older now as well too, but like having the idea of the memories and like that that they can't really be created either, even though she's the one kind of creating them for these robots and everything, and then how painful that must have been for her with like the knowledge of him coming to her with this memory of her own and everything like that. It was
and her not being able to reveal like what that is and relieve him of that, and she just got to let him go on believing he's that person.
Yeah, it was really on this one that I felt like a lot more of those themes were hitting a little bit more close to home to me. And I think too, like for whatever reason, like I've always had this idea in my head of the replicants as like always having some sort of like aluminum skeleton or something that's on there. And I think it was on this one again too, where I was rewatching that it was really hitting for me that no, they are flesh and blood humans. They're just engineered differently, that they are stronger or less, combative or whatever, more likely to go along with authority. But I thought, for whatever reason, this one sunk in a little bit more for me on this rewatch.
That they're actually like flesh and
if I one day just woke up and someone came up to me and were like, "Hey man, you never were who you said that you were, and like we gave you all of this stuff and everything."
Right,
like,
you don't have a master's degree. Yeah,
that was all just memories of some other guy.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
all those clones I have out there. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. And then I thought, too, like, it felt funny on this one that the Jared Leto character is just kind of openly evil from the moment he steps on screen.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. And also his dialogue I don't completely vibe with. It's just a little out there for me. And
it is a certain amount, like, I have such a tough time separating him from his performances nowadays as well, too.
Right. I could agree with that, yeah. Definitely a little over the top, which I don't remember. I remember liking his performance. In fact, I think in my review I talk about it from high school. I've talked about him giving a great performance, I think is the line that I mentioned. Don't feel this way anymore, but I think I remember watching it the first time around and liking him in it, but this time around, no. I was like, what are you saying right now, dude? This makes no sense.
I feel like no matter what he's in, everybody that I at least talk to like hates on him.
He's pretty divisive, I think. You kind of either love him or you hate him. And I think
I don't hear a lot of good things
as the
about
years go on, I think more people trend towards not liking him. But I don't know for sure. Obviously, we could take a poll. Listeners, write in. Let me know. Do you like Jared Leto?
Yeah, give us a little email.
Yeah, send it in. The score.
Yeah,
Hans
fantastic.
Hans Zimmer on the score.
Hans Zimmer on his bullshit.
Yeah, bro. Hans Zimmer on his X-Pac, man. He's he's on one on this one, dude. Yeah. Did you guys notice? Are you guys familiar with the Shepherd's tone?
No.
It's a thing. I don't know necessarily if you'd call it music per se, but it's a thing where it's a tone that has a strict order of notes where it constantly sounds like the noise is rising or lowering, but it has this it loops itself basically, where you kind of think it's climbing, but it keeps climbing.
So
Just
it's like it's almost like the audio version of an M.C. Escher painting.
I'm too young for that reference, I think.
M.C. Escher, like the Endless Staircase dudes.
Oh, okay.
Where like,
yes, basically. Here, I'll play a shepherd's tone here and see if it gets on caught. Let me know if this is coming through.
it's coming. Sure.
So that just goes on, and it will always keep sounding like it's rising, but it has no end to the rise. So that's a shepherd's tone. Hans Zimmer, this motherfucker, he uses it in the scene where he's finding the horse, the wooden horse. But in a descending tone, it seems. But it's mixed into the score where you kind of hear the shepherd's tone as he's walking down the hallway. It's this endless descent of the shepherd's tone, and you just keep getting this sinking feeling as Ryan Gosling's walking down the hallway towards the horse that you just like, you don't want to know what's at the end of it, because like neither does Ryan Gosling. If the horse is there, what does that mean? You know, and so you have this like ever descending tone going on for, I don't know how long it goes on for, but that was something I noticed this time around where I was just like, holy crap, Hans, that was beautiful. And that scene in particular really caught my attention, where you just have this endless descent, and it was really, really incredible use of that. And I'm surprised that's not really used more, or maybe it is and I just don't notice it. I did notice it this time around, but I'm surprised that's not a tactic that's used more, because I feel like that kind of tone can be used really effectively, and at least it's used really effectively here.
Yeah. I definitely didn't pick up on that, but
watch it back. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It might not be, I'm not a huge music guy, so it might not be a true shepherd's tone, but
Sure.
at least that same kind of effect of like this tone that you think is going to have an ending and it doesn't, and it keeps going down and down and down. So that kind of thing is used, at least. I don't know the exact term for it. Maybe it's something different, what he uses specifically. So don't quote me on it, but that's how I'm familiar with the term, kind of. And that's the kind of thing I noticed with what he was doing. But even beyond that, just throughout the movie in general, I got through like halfway through this movie, and I was like, I need to turn this thing up. Like I'm not enjoying. I'm like, what is missing for me here? And I was like, oh, I'm playing it at like half the volume I need to be playing it.
Yeah, I was getting yelled at because mine was too loud.
Yeah, no, I needed to be at that place.
specifically watched this during the daytime just so I could crank it. Yeah.
Yeah. I realized.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't getting yelled at by anybody other than Carolia.
Right. Marriage off to a good start. Yeah.
Yeah, great start. She just doesn't like loud things, and I like loud movies. So, but we've known that.
Yeah,
so.
Right. No, that's
this is not new information.
Correct. No, yeah, it was about probably 45 minutes to an hour in where I was like, I gotta crank it up a little bit. I'm not getting the full effect here. But yeah, score's great. Just wanted to touch on that. We know we mentioned it pre-spoilers a little bit, but just needed to reiterate.
Yeah. Speaking of just kind of like audio and sound design, when Nathaniel mentions like when they're kind of just walking around this dystopian city and everything's an ad and everything's like catchphrases and you forget about them so fast. They just pop up in your face as Kay's walking down the street. Did you all catch the one where I mentioned the other day on podcast where the guy's talking about calcium?
Oh yeah, take your calcium.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. I want to go back and find it. Where is
the scene where it's the scene where like the like escorts, prostitutes, whatever
okay.
Mackenzie Davis character is.
Man,
right?
I
It's
missed
the
it.
scene where he's sitting at the table and they
it.
come up to him. It's in the background there.
Okay. Voodoo, I will say one thing. I love Voodoo, but their subtitles are awful. Consistently across a lot of the movies I've watched on Voodoo, they're either way too far ahead. They're just out of sync in some way. Either way too far ahead, just a little bit far ahead. They're behind. So I've had bad subtitle experience on Voodoo. So you need to fix that ASAP, please. But besides that, I love it.
Yeah, Voodoo. Please.
Love is very good in this.
Love is very good in this.
Sylvia Hoeks.
You mentioned in the group chat the glass scene,
The murder of Madam.
Yes.
Yeah, Robin Wright.
which I didn't really understand. I couldn't remember what you were talking about specifically when you sent that chat.
Sure.
And then I knew exactly what you were talking about as I was watching the movie. What a great scene that is. And
it's Robin, for anyone who's listening who hasn't seen the movie, which I don't know why you are, but anyways,
spoilers. What are you doing?
Robin Wright's holding a glass of whiskey, and the Sylvia Hoeks character comes in and crushes the glass while Robin Wright is still holding on to it in her hand, and then proceeds to just kind of keep squishing her hand more and more closed, and it's very painful to watch, but it gets me every
effective.
time. Yeah, it is effective. A lot of the violence in this is actually very effective.
Yeah,
I think they
really well done.
They communicate very much and very easily how the replicants are a lot stronger and can very easily just mess up a human if they want.
Or if you're Dave Bautista, send Ryan Gosling through a wall.
Ryan Gosling goes through 2 walls in this movie.
He does.
We're full spoilers. So favorite kill or fight or lack thereof fight that happens is when Coco just gets fucking chopped
right in the back of the head.
I'm like, it's like one shot, game over. Not playing around.
Like bleeding from the eyes. Yeah. I like that. I
love the Ryan Gosling Kool-Aid Man shot where he just jumps
through the wall.
Yeah.
I really like when he gets taken down in the scrapper like yard, and then all of the like kind of junkyard guys come up and Loves just starts taking him out with the missile strikes.
Oh yeah, she just calls in and she's just like fire.
Yeah.
Fire as she's getting her nails done.
And they're lasering on little animated GIFs onto her nails. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. As she's looking through the new Apple Glass,
right? She's in the Apple Vision Pro 3. Yeah,
that's where I'm saying like this movie really feels like it is tomorrow in terms of where we're going.
And you wouldn't think it just. You could change the aesthetic of this movie to modern day, but keep a lot of the same tech and stuff. I feel like you could recreate this movie with modern day technology.
If you told me that they were like, yeah, hey man, in 10 years the oceans are gonna start rising. We've melted the polar caps. We're gonna have to build a big fucking wall around Los Angeles.
Well, that's gonna be our only option.
It's gonna be huge, and we're gonna have screwed up the environment so bad that it's snowing every day, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And oh, by the way, we just farm grubs now. That's just what we eat.
I'm a protein farmer
all the time. But that pretty much sounds like where we're going. I'm glad to see Atari's still doing good though, and fucking
Atari's
Panasonic.
Thriving. Atari's thriving.
Yeah, man. This I don't know. Am I crazy? Is the Blade Runner future coming?
Am
I sounding like too much like an old man shouting at the clouds?
It's here.
I was really affected by that on this watch. Maybe I've just been thinking about it too much, but
no, you're not. It's we live in a dystopian future already. I've accepted it. But hey, the Apple Vision Pro.
I just feel like if at any point, like if tomorrow Boeing was like, "Hey, we cracked human development. We're growing these dudes in a petri dish." Like they would have them be slave labor within
instantly.
3 weeks.
Oh.
If AI has taught me anything on how disposable human beings as a workforce are, like all of us would be out of a job and in homeless in a year.
Right.
So anyways, what was your guys' favorite part?
I love the Russian gentleman yelling, "You never run out of calcium," or "Eat your calcium," whatever.
Eat your calcium.
That's in there. Obviously the scene between Mackenzie David's character as well as Anna de Armas' character, and they kind of have that top tier the epitome of sci-fi, right? CGI blend where she kind of encompasses the real, or I guess an android body, right? So they can have a physical relationship. Probably lean with one of those two, or just something I always catch myself saying in general is just his baseline test.
Yeah,
I
with
love the
its cells.
baseline
Cells. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was literally
so-
sitting in the living room just fucking
Intertwined.
doing what he was
Interlinked.
doing.
Repeating it.
Jeremy was
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"You just shut the
Yourself
fuck up."
repeating it.
I love that as
Yeah.
a concept though. Like he's got to pass the psych eval, but like he can't even
Uh-huh.
do anything but respond, and like they're just gonna know. Like there's no way to get around it too.
Well, that comes
Yeah.
back to the Voight-Kampff test in the first one,
Yeah, there was something in the first one, right?
where that's what he's performing on Rachel while they're there, and that's like how they can kind of tell that you're a replicant is your reaction, and they have the camera on your eye, and whether you dilate or not or whatever, and that's how you tell that you are a replicant or not in
Mhm.
the first one, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are. What I'll pose it to you guys this way: do you think there is any chance in the, I guess, third act of the movie when Pink Joy shows up? Do you think there's any chance that she recognizes him at all, or is he just like realizing again that they may have had a relationship, but that it was really more programmed than he thought?
Yeah, well, she calls him Joe,
Calls him Joe.
which oh, hello, Ellie.
Ellie, what are you doing?
Ellie disagrees.
I guess
Ellie
so.
believes in true love between robots. I don't know what's going on out there.
I know.
That was really random.
I need to pause for a
But
second.
yeah, we might need to pause for station identification.
The dog going crazy over there. Yeah, then they muted us.
Man, this Green Bay game's turned into shit.
I was like, yeah, I'm kind of peeping it here.
I thought it was gonna go good for a minute, and then
That interception.
It was,
really hurt you guys.
yeah.
I looked up,
hurt
they
my
got it down to
fantasy
10,
team too,
which is crucial, right? But then once they got it down to 10, they
yeah,
didn't do anything with it.
Jordan Love TD plus 2-point conversion. I was like, hey, we might
Yeah.
get something going.
No,
here,
it
and
was
then jump
looking
back up.
decent for a second, and then he threw that
Yeah.
pick. Also, that pick was to AJ Dillon, who I also have in my fantasy team. And so if he hit that for the TD, bro, we'd be cooking. But David Montgomery got another touchdown. so that's good, too.
Montgomery is having a fucking.
He's
game.
having a
He's at,
night,
like,
and I'm
32
so
points already.
happy. I checked my fantasy lineup today because he was on my bench before. So he's got me 33 points.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was I saying?
Uh,
I was talking a lot, wasn't I?
talking about joy and replicants.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Did we decide? Do you think was there any chance she knew who he was, or was that all was he just realizing that it wasn't as real?
Wait, say that again.
In the final act when he sees Big Joy, and
Yep.
and she walks up to him, and she obviously doesn't recognize him in the way that she knows that he's Joe. But I remember seeing it I think in the beginning or the first time I saw it, and wondering if there was any part of that in there that, like, she might recognize him, or there might be something beyond that, or was the whole purpose of that just that he realizes that it wasn't that special and that he is alone?
To me, I interpret that as he knew the whole time the reality of
Yeah, he does seem
of
to
that
kind of
relationship with Joy, and so
be
to
understanding
me,
of that.
it's him questioning, like, well, regardless of whether or not I could just buy another one of who I had, what I had to that specific one was real. Regardless of whatever, like, however she was programmed, like, that was my Joy, regardless of whether or not, anyone can buy her.
Sure.
So to me, it was like what I had for that was real. And it's like he's using her as almost inspiration to go back, help Deckard, and get him reunited with his daughter.
Sure.
That's how I kind of interpreted that. But it is an interesting question to think, like, oh, is that just kind of piss him off, and like is he hurt that the love killed Joy? Which I want to mention really quick, the sound effect when they kill or when she stomps on the
yeah.
thing. It's got like a little bit of like a meaty crunch to it. Oh, it was so good.
I think it actually might be the same thing they use for the hand.
It might
Glass
be.
crunch.
Yeah,
as
it
well,
sounded kind
too.
of similar, but yeah, is it him just wanting to go get revenge for Joy? Like I think there's a bunch of different ways you can look at it, which I love. I think it's just really open to interpretation of how you want to see that inspire him, regardless of what
Yeah.
it is. Though it's
That was
him.
like the other thing too. Is like is Love kissing him before she runs back into the surf and is just like, I'm the best.
Yeah, that was weird.
And I was
You
like,
know, I stated earlier I watched the first one as well, and there seems to be some relatively unnecessary kissing in the first one too, where I was just like, that didn't need to happen here. You don't have to do
I
that.
do vaguely
That's a
remember
weird
that
spot
as
for
well
this.
too. Yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
So maybe that was just like, you know, a touch to like, hey, Ridley Scott, you put weird kisses in, I'm gonna put weird kisses in.
Got a bunch of weirdos kissing each other. I mean, that's fine.
Blake, Ty, any input on the Joy scene or the big Joy scene? I should say.
That's the scene where she's large and like illuminated in like pink.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is that what we're chatting about? Yeah.
You get the like what I think is maybe the most enduring image of this movie, which is the Ryan Gosling
For
with the
sure.
nose tape
Yeah.
over it in the like the pink and blue lighting or whatever. That like
Yep. It's like raining outside.
yeah,
and
looking very
whatnot, too.
forlorn.
Another great shot. But yeah, I mean, I think more so the entire movie kind of challenges like what does it mean to be like a real person
Oh
with
yeah,
people being replicants and having purpose in life. And it seems like he actually finds it, right, for the most part, even after he finds out that none of those memories are actually his as a replicant, and all that stuff is from the woman being basically like held like hostage. And you know, I mean, I guess like one or two things can happen from that, right? Somebody can kind of crumble and just be a part of the system, but then from there he ends up arguably doing like one of the most human things and like trying to save somebody. So, yeah, I don't know. I would say that's my takeaway from the entire thing so far, or from the entire movie to upon like third or fourth watch. But I guess I'll defer to Ty if he has anything he wants.
No, I don't really have anything to add. I do think that you have to have some. I guess you don't have to have like some kind of film interest or background or whatever, but you do need to pay attention. And I do obviously recommend watching the first one before you watch 2049. But to see the world grow so much from just like a technology standpoint and like what we're capable of now with animation, CGI, and stuff like that, and it's just really cool to kind of see, you know, what we can do. When you watch the first one, it's just a bunch of like old cars that they like basically fabbed out in a Back to the Future sense, and there's just, you know, random parts glued onto cars and
right. Yeah,
so,
you went down to the Ace Hardware and got the most futuristic shit you could find and glued it on, spray painted it all silver, and yeah.
So it's really cool to see how far the world has come. But yeah, you know, I think we kind of touched on the main points, you know, as far as like how many underlying and deeper tones there are. I have probably watched this within like 4 or 5 times as well, somewhere in that realm. I've caught like small parts, and you know, you just kind of have it on in the background, but you obviously need to pay attention to it to really appreciate it for what it is. But I will also say that I also thoroughly enjoy watching this movie with not having to understand like what's going on, and just like enjoying the aesthetics of it and just kind of the world that it is. And it kind of falls into that live action anime version of Ghost in a Shell for me. As far as, you know, it kind of seems like a live action anime. And it'd be cool to see what you could do with anime for something like this. But I kind of have an idea of what I think it would look like. But it's cool. It's a world that feels lived in, and it's a world that I would like, you know, want to like be in for a day and see what it's like, a day in the life of a Blade Runner.
I want his coat so bad.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah, I think
Oh, so
everybody does.
bad.
I think that would be a great go-to for cosplay. You could probably find it for relatively inexpensive on Amazon. It's really not that hard. And if it's a Comic-Con or something like that, that's like, in the middle of winter or fall, you get to wear it all day and be perfectly fine with it.
Speaking of lines we use from this movie, I didn't realize it was from this movie, but I do the "was a day" line all the time, where they sit down. And she's like, "Was it was a day? Yeah, it was a day. It
was a day.
Yeah,
I love her little nickname. She goes, "Baby Sweet."
yeah, baby sweet.
Oh man,
Yeah.
gets me every time.
Yeah, I even kind of just doubling down on that scene though. I also like for Joy. I forgot exactly how the interaction goes, but she asked him something about like, "Oh, is like today our anniversary?" And then his answer is like, "We can just pretend it is," because I guess to my understanding, like if he were to say yes, that would probably like cloud her judgment or like change her judgment and memories.
That's a good point.
Something
Sure.
he would probably have to like understand or try to consciously remember, because it seems like she has consciousness, right? So I guess that was my takeaway. But he was like, "We can just pretend it is." So I don't know. Maybe I'm deep diving.
No, I would like that if that was the case. That'd be cool. But I don't know.
Cool.
Well,
Y'all ready to?
ready to
Y'all
see.
ready to rank it on the list?
I believe we are. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the pod. We're going to go ahead and throw Blade Runner 24/9 up upon our entry list. For those of you who do not know, the entry list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we've reviewed, all compared to one another, all on one fantastic list. If you want to see it for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it's linked to my Letterboxd.
Big 160.
Ooh, baby.
Movie 160. Is that where you think it's going?
I have good news, ladies and gents. My
Your
my Letterboxd shows the movie posters now.
hell yeah.
I don't know if anything changed.
Not that I'm aware of.
Maybe Waz listened to the episode and fixed it for me.
Could have been.
That'd be great. But I see all the movie posters now. Oh, except for Blade Runner 2049. That one's missing.
Dear.
That's odd. Okay. Well, I'll take the other ones. That's fine. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not crying on the inside or anything.
So we got some Denny V on here already. Obviously, we got Prisoners up at number 6.
Whew.
We got Arrival hanging out at 13. Is that our only
And then
two?
we got
on here?
Dune at 28.
Dune at 28. That's right. Where are you boys throwing Blade Runner 2049?
I'll go.
All right. Kick it off.
Go ahead.
I will sacrifice both Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, and Two Towers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will also sacrifice Dune,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't like. But I will not sacrifice Return of the King.
Okay.
So I'm going to let it be in the top 20. I think it's very deserving of being in the top 20.
For sure.
And I do like this better than Ex Machina. So I'm going to go with 19.
Fair.
That is fair.
I figured the quick look would be where the rest of Denny V movies are,
Mm.
and then Ex Machina. I figured that'd be the quick pick, and then kind of decipher that out however one feels. Nathaniel, Adam, any of y'all
I got mine.
got any thoughts? Let it rip,
I'm
man.
just let it rip. 16. Below Midsommar, above Oppenheimer. Is that a hot take?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No,
It can be whatever
no.
you want it to be.
Yeah.
So you like Arrival more than this?
No, but I don't think
Okay.
I can put it that high.
Sake of the list.
For the
I
sake
hear
of the
you.
list. I think Arrival is still very
you.
good, and I don't have an issue with it being above this one. But I
Mhm.
do enjoy 2049 over Arrival. I will qualify that with I didn't see Arrival in theaters. That could have changed things for me. Whereas I did see this in theaters for my first watch. So that didn't have a lot of influence on me, of course. But I would say I still do enjoy this over Arrival. However, I for the sake of Midsommar and Whiplash being right there, I don't know if I can do that. So, but I feel fine about Oppenheimer, Lighthouse. Sorry, Ty, but Return of the King I'm fine with, and most of the movies below I'm
You're fucking crazy. No, it's cool. I get it.
But yeah, I am. I think 16 is the perfect spot for me personally, so I'm leaving it there.
I struggle with this movie
Yeah.
because
I think Nathaniel may actually be the lowest.
no, I don't think so. No, because I think
Okay.
this one for me like is definitely one of those ones where I'm watching it where I'm like, how could a movie be better than this fucking thing, man? Like this movie is so goddamn
This is a
cool.
movie, you know.
Like, yeah, like I don't know. It sucks me away. I'm on the ride every time, you know. So like for me, if I'm sitting here ranking Denny V movies, right, I don't put Arrival above this, and I don't, you know, and Prisoners is another one on this one where I'm like, ooh, they're going toe to toe, but I don't think I can put it up that high into that air. I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna put it at 18. I want it to be in between The Lighthouse and The Return of the King.
You like The Lighthouse more than this? Nothing wrong with that. I'm just curious.
No, but I see
I
them as
want
a
you to be between Lighthouse and Return of the King.
I see them as kind of a weird companion piece in some ways, where you have this very maximal movie, and then you have like Lighthouse with its 4:3 aspect ratio and black and white coloring and like two
and all
characters.
Those seabirds.
Yeah, you wouldn't harm a seabird.
It's bad luck to kill a seabird.
So yeah, no, I, that's where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it at 18. I'm gonna put it below The Lighthouse. I'm gonna put it above The Return of the King, barely. Though I understand Tyler's point on that side of things as well too, and that's putting it above Green Room, which is another personal fave.
Yeah. Tough call for you.
And I mean, again, there's other ones down there, a little bit down the list. Terminator 2, amazing. No Country for Old Men, amazing. Starship Troopers, amazing. You know, like Kill Bill, amazing. So it's we've gone over it again and again. The Entropy list is skewed towards good movies, and it's a murderer's row up there, folks. It's a murderer's row.
Yeah. Good points. I think I'm probably coming in at the highest on this thing. And
as you should be. This is your boy.
Yeah. This is a little tough.
Lord.
I did come in high on Ex Machina. I think I had that thing ranked at like, I don't know. I think it was like 7.
I think you were like 6 or 7 or something. Yeah, something like that.
So I don't think I'm as high on this as I am on Ex
like
Machina.
Ex Machina better than this?
It's oh man, different types of movies, both sci-fi.
Gun to your head, gun to your balls.
Totally different. Oh,
Yeah.
Gun to your head, gun to your
nah,
balls.
dude, don't do that. Fuck, bro. I'd probably roll Ex Machina just off screen time,
bro. No
just
way.
off screen time. That I can watch Ex Machina within an hour and like 39 minutes. I can watch Ex Machina. I hear you.
Because I want to be in this world.
Yeah, the world is awesome though.
It's
the
so
world
good.
building is phenomenal.
Is the world good? The world seems horrible. But
Yeah, it does. But
The concept,
that's even
how
more
they did it.
intriguing. Yeah. That's even more intriguing.
Obviously,
it's
in just complete disarray, and everybody's fucking. If you're not like the 1%, you're fucked. But
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Ty. That's actually super difficult for me to decide. Yeah, gun to the
I
bullseye.
know, that's why I'm making you do it.
Yeah, I feel like I'd lean Ex Machina, but that could sway any day of the week. So yeah, kind of just looking here. I'm seeing Arrival at 13. I'm seeing Oppenheimer at 16, which I felt pretty strongly on. 9 Days at 20, which is unfortunate because 9 Days is probably its way out of the top 20 based off kind of our rankings going on here. But yeah, long story short, looking here, I'm like, yeah, my hard cap where I start to really start pushing things around comes at 11, with that being Alien. And sci-fi,
Sure.
right? But that's sci-fi horror that started an entire franchise, one of my favorite
That started a
fictional
whole new fucking
characters.
piece of my life for me.
Yeah, man. So that's
Like-
the one that's like that's really tough for me to go over. So I'd probably have to cap it at 12.
Yeah, that's like that movie. I saw that movie and it was like a new strand of DNA split off in my
For sure.
body, and it was like,
I'm with
you
you.
need this in your life.
I'm with you for sure.
Well, with all
So,
that
yeah,
being said,
I think I'm rocking 12.
we have an
All right.
average ranking of 16.25, meaning we would have to tie break with Oppenheimer.
Oh
Mm.
boy.
Oh, that's actually tough.
Are we above or below Oppenheimer?
I think Oppenheimer is a slightly better put together movie. And since it's a historical event, it maybe holds a little bit more weight, but I do appreciate the sci-fi of this and like just the world that it's in. I don't know why. Like I really love like that post-apocalyptic
No, I'm
cyberpunk
with you.
kind of world, and
The
so yeah,
dystopian.
it's a pretty hard toss up.
It is.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably take Oppenheimer just because.
The runtime?
No, I don't care about the runtime, especially when you have movies this good.
I mean, they're 15 minutes apart.
Either way,
Yeah.
I figured it was long as well. So I was
yeah,
like,
it's
it
3 hours
doesn't-
versus 2:45. I think we're splitting hairs at that
Yeah.
point.
I
You got to take a pee break in both of
I-
them, so it really doesn't matter.
I think it's just because it's a better, it's a more well put together movie.
With
in my
Oppenheimer,
opinion. Yeah, from like start to finish, and you don't have to have Oppenheimer 1 to kind of explain what the fuck is going on.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I think Oppenheimer 1 is.
That's tough, fellas. I
Dunkirk.
think I'd probably lean Blade Runner 2049. It's got a few things going for it. One, as we mentioned, the worlding, and just how beautiful this film actually looks from a shot to shot basis. Two, this might be the best legacy. This might be the best legacy sequel we've ever gotten. Something that kind of has that rolling for it. And then we also just have a computer-generated AI Anna de Amar's girlfriend. It's like movie's got a lot of things going for it.
Yeah, it does have
In,
Ana
the
de Armas.
modern,
But
modern
Blake,
internet world.
to play
for
devil's
sure.
advocate with you, Oppenheimer has Florence Pugh.
Yes.
So,
I know,
you know, you're kind of screwed both ways.
Yeah.
Because I know
Yeah.
you're Ana de Armas and you're a Florence Pugh stan.
Damned if you do.
Yeah. In
Damned if you
a
don't.
Florence Pugh, ironically, he's got a Florence Pugh sex scene, right? So you think
It's
that's
right,
skyrocket
right.
this movie.
Meanwhile, Ana de Armas, it's a fake sex scene. You know, she's a hologram.
Very true. Man. Matter of fact, you could argue it's not even her.
You're right. It's not even an Ana. Yeah, you're right. It's
So
not
yeah,
even
I don't know,
Ana de
Bella.
Armas
It's
sex
tough.
scene.
I think I'd lean Blade Runner 2049.
Man, that is tough. Nathaniel, do you have a way you're leaning?
Are we evenly split so
There-
far?
We're 1-1. Ties Oppenheimer.
We are 1-1.
above. Blake is 2049 above.
I'm gonna
loving
go,
the drama we have cooking.
I'm going 2049.
You're leaning 2049.
Ooh, that may do it.
You're a real piece of shit. You know that?
That's right.
That may do it.
Blake, your
That may
opinion's
do it.
fine. Nathaniel, you're a piece of shit.
Fuck you. You're cool.
So
That may do it. What are you thinking, Adam?
my I'm torn. My heart's telling me 2049. But my brain is telling me Oppenheimer.
But my body is telling me
yeah. But man, gun to the head, gun to the balls.
gun to the head, gun to the balls. What are you
2049,
picking?
I think is just egging me that way. I think I'm leaning 2049.
bitch.
I'm sorry, Ty.
No, they're close. Like I said,
they're so close. And
yeah,
honestly,
they're very close.
you could realistically, in my opinion, rearrange the top 30-ish movies on this list and in any order, and it'd be like, oh, I can respect that. like the top 30 movies, any single one of them, I feel like you could put number one, minus a few here and there. But yeah, most all these movies are so good. So like a slot between 16 or 17, I mean, they might as well be the equal quality. You know, when you get to 160, that's a very small discrepancy. You know, but that being said, I think we're gonna lock in Blade Runner 2049 above Oppenheimer at 16 and below Midsommar.
Cool.
Good ranking.
So Denny V has all 3 films that we've reviewed in the top 30.
It's true.
That's pretty high clip.
4 if it was, it'd be 4 now.
Well, yeah. Wait, is that 4? Yeah. Wait, Dune. Yeah, it is
It'd
4.
Dune,
He's got
Blade
4.
Runner 2049.
He's got 4
Arrival,
of the
Prisoners.
top 29 movies on our Entropy list. I don't think anyone else is hitting that.
How many does Nolan have though? Nolan
slipped
on Tenet.
Tenet slipped in Dunkirk. Is still high, but it's not
37.
incredibly high. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. So Nolan's got what two in the top 20.
Yeah, so Nolan's. I mean,
Right,
he's got it up there, but Prisoners being at 6. I mean, Denny V had 2 in the top 10 for a while until I booted Arrival down a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Valid. We'll see. We'll see who's coming next between them. Oh, I guess we just got Nolan right with Oppenheimer, so it's gonna be Dune Part 2. Whenever that happens.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, Dune Part 2, which is now slated for March because it got delayed because of the strikes. So we got to wait a little bit on that one, which is fine with me because I've got more time to finish the book.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's it for 24/9. Join us next week for our review of the new movie, Sci-Fi September Bleeds into October by a few days. The Creator with John David Washington.
Tenet's own
John David Washington. Yeah, this is a new movie. It's in theaters.
I think this week, right?
Yeah, I think
today.
this week. Today
We're
or
recording.
tomorrow? Yeah.
We're recording on Thursday, the 28th.
Nathaniel, did you book an Entourage ticket for me?
I did indeed.
You sneaky bastard. I just saw it in my calendar the other day, and I was like, when did I book a ticket for The Creator? But thank you, because I'll probably be attending. But yeah, see that in theaters right now. I haven't heard much about it, which is good because I'll just go in with no expectations.
I
agree.
I've had positive early feedback.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right, we'll see. I'm gonna go in with an open mind.
One thing that I feel okay saying for everyone is that
I'm scared.
it does not end on a cliffhanger.
Hey,
So,
we'll take it.
There is no.
So
Round
there's a
of applause.
resolution.
There
No
is yes,
sequel.
there is. From what I've heard, there is a resolution at the end of this movie.
Well, that's good.
There is no way
Yeah.
part 2 coming 2027.
That's
Once we
awesome.
get
No,
That
it's-
automatically puts it in the top 97 films.
There you go.
That's valid. Oh yeah, so check out The Creator and then join us for our review of that next week. Okay. I think we should wrap it up. I would say let's do what we're watching, but we're running a little long on time here. I think we're good.
Yeah,
It's late as we're recording this, and I'm tired.
Fair
So,
enough.
yeah, Creator next week. Nathaniel 5-star review.
No 5-star review, but I will give a shout out since we are in a spooky season. And one thing that I did watch was that I watched the new movie No One Will Save You on Hulu, which is an alien invasion
new?
movie.
Oh, you watched it?
Yep.
Yeah, you were telling me about that in the store the other day.
Yes, it
How
is
was it?
new. It's good. It's really good. It's got it's basically the main character in it is played by Caitlin Dever, who most people I think would know from Booksmart.
Okay.
Or she's like kind of the new it actress of kind of your generation, I would say.
What's
But
she
she's
called?
really
What's
good.
her name again?
Caitlin Dever.
I've definitely seen her.
Yeah.
And heard that name. I'm just trying to give.
But she plays a woman that's house is being broken
Yes,
into in the night, and
I
it
see.
might be aliens, or it may not be. Who knows? It's probably aliens. But it's really good. It's on Hulu. Definitely recommend to start off spooky season for you. It's only an hour and a half, and worth a watch, I would say. And if you want to give us a 5-star review, give us a 5-star review. It helps us grow, folks. You can also do it on Spotify now. They've added that feature too. So
Caitlin Dever, born in Phoenix, Arizona, Nathaniel.
my girl.
Yeah, hometown. Or no, where you're not from Phoenix, though, are you?
I mean, that would be like the closest big city.
Right.
I'm from Phoenix the way you're from Chicago.
Facts. Yeah, I feel that.
Yep.
But what is your town
That
actually
works.
called?
Gold Canyon
Yeah, never heard of it.
or Apache Junction if you
We'll
want.
stick with Phoenix. Cool. Well, maybe check that out. I don't think we have room on the schedule for that, but
No, probably not. But it is one I'd say you may be hearing more about come the holiday season here. It's one that like folks have been saying on film Twitter and stuff like, had this gone to theaters, it could have gotten like a Talk to Me style kind of word of mouth breakout kind of
Sure.
thing. But just gonna be one on Hulu, so it's easy, free to
Dang.
watch. Check it out, folks.
cool. Well, that'll be that. If you don't want to leave a 5-star review, you can send us email at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at BanterRow, on Instagram at backrowbanterpod, which I want to get started again. I'm going to get those graphics up on there, and we'll get it all going. And then our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. Go subscribe to us there, even if it's not your primary place of listening. And then share the podcast, of course, a friend, a family member, a replicant looking up to the left. You never
True.
know. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. Follow me on there. I'll do some things, rate things out of 5 stars. And that's all I got right now. Have more updates once I break.
Oh, you
About
cut
4
out. What'd you
days.
say?
I'm
You-
banking on it.
What'd you say?
What I cut out on Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there rating.
You
some
said you
things
got an
out of 5
update on
stars.
something?
I was mentioning I will have some further updates on PSN and Xbox
There you go.
once I get MK1. Should
Mm.
happen in probably say the next about a week or so. I'll
Word.
break down and get MK1. Funny enough, quick tangent. Apologies. They were talking about guest characters for this Mortal Kombat. That happens on every Mortal Kombat game. There's guest characters that come
They
out in
sure do.
additional DLC. They get leaked. We already have the first set of guest characters, as I told you. It's like Homelander,
And Omni-Man.
Omni-Man,
Right,
Peacemaker, and then 3 other actual Mortal Kombat characters. They're saying now for the second combat pack, the rumors are it's like Pinhead, Ghostface, and somebody else.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah,
Nice.
that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, that's all I had to share, and we'll pass it over to we'll go to Nathaniel.
Yeah, folks, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGingrick. You can always find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is my other podcast, though I haven't updated it in a long time. But it's still out there. You can still listen to
Still
it.
good.
Yeah.
Holds up.
It's a good spooky season podcast. So check it
It
out,
is
folks.
spooky season.
Tyler.
Instagram, Letterboxd, and X. All Tyler Vidalis, VID, alias. Adam?
You can find me on Twitter at Aish24 and on Letterboxd at Aish. I think that'll do it here for episode 163. What a good time it was. We've been talking about getting this movie on the podcast since I think podcast was a thing. So
It's true.
it's finally here. Only took 163 episodes. But we got it. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really do appreciate it. Join us for our review of The Creator next week. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we'll be RB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you and anything you do to help us grow, whether it's just talking about us to a friend or talking about us to your other personality, whatever you're into. Spread love. We'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast without you. So as we always say, as long as you're striving to do at least one thing you enjoy every single day, that should make your day a little better. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Let's kick this thing off, bro. It's 9:00.
Oh shit, it is. I'm just thinking of names.
Yeah, and this is probably gonna be a long ep because this is a damn good movie.
Fair enough.
I'll keep it short. This movie was good. I'm out.
Solid. I like Ron Gosling. Music's
Gosling?
sick. Looks cool. Am I a replicant?
Yeah, we'll just say like all the usual stuff. Set was great. Concept is great.
Sick.
Shots
I,
good.
I really like how it's a Blade Runner sequel because I love the original.
Score perfect 10. Score perfect 10.
Yeah.